Hey folks, nice to see you. My name is Dustin Cormier and welcome to How to Rock Astrology. Today we are talking about Sun in Leo with Mars in Capricorn. This can make for a very strong, capable, passionate lover. A very ardent, intense lover. We're going to talk about it in my own little spiel, sort of in my own idea of what the sign energy would play out as, and then we're going to do some readings from Erotic Astrology by Phyllis Vega to kind of fill in and fill out my ideas that I have on the subject. Just my own few preliminary thoughts. This is a potentially very juicy energy. This could make for a tantric energy, a person who's good, skilled, Mars and Capricorn, at performing the drama and theater of the energy exchange of lovemaking and romance. It's like a Leo fixed fire thing. The Leo, the sun, is using Mars, always for everyone's chart, as the general, as its right-hand man, as the arm that basically goes out and gets what the king, the sun, wants. Now, the king is aware that it's a king when it's in Leo, and there's a countenance in this person that's very singularly driven in the way that we know Leo to be. It's on its own path, it's focused, it's a rigid constancy towards its own ambitions. And of course, we know from, this video is a continuation of our Mars and Capricorn part of this series. So if you want to learn a bit how what Mars being exalted brings to every sign, feel free to check out that video, the Mars and Capricorn video that we did at the start. What the gist of that was that this Mars in Capricorn and the influence of the yin energy of Saturn in Capricorn reign in this Mars. Now, there's a frustration happening here because Mars and the Sun, the general, is kind of like acting like a father or some kind of authoritative figure to the Sun, who is supposed to be the king. It's the Mars that this person uses in themselves can burn. It doesn't exactly jive. Being in Capricorn, it doesn't naturally jive with the Leo Sun. Technically, because it's often nice when the king and his advisor, his general, are tuned to the same drum, going to the same intention and beat and impulse. But in this particular case, the fact that Mars is exalted in Capricorn is really just drawing out the best of Mars. Exaltation is its own specific thing. It's a high dignity. So this Mars is being really put. It has energy. It's got a dense amount of energy, and it knows how to properly channel it constructively. That being said, it might be frustrating for the wild Leo ego to force themselves to discipline themselves towards a painstaking skill or attainment or degree or whatever it is that fixed fire Leo is going to laser beam focus on through that concentrated Mars in Capricorn. It's frustrating to the Leo, but ultimately this is a powerful combination for ambitious purposes, for getting what you want out of life and putting in the effort to. Consider that, in Vedic astrology, I'm a tropical Vedic astrologer, which means that I use Western measurements. I don't change my dates. I don't go back a sign like the sidereal Vedic people do. I'm a tropical astrologer, but I've been educated on the Vedic philosophy and understanding of interpretation. So, with that being said, the reason I'm saying that is that in Vedic interpretation, we have something called the Surya Lagna, the Surya chart. Surya meaning the sun. It's not as important as like the moon chart, the Chandra Lagna, but it says things about the soul. Every planet is an ascendant sign. Every point is an ascendant sign unto itself, even the house cusps in a certain way. And the signs from those certain points have houses under themselves. So what I mean by this is that if we treat the sun as an ascendant in this chart, the sun is in the first house, in its own house in Leo. The natural sixth house from Leo, which already says something about, this is an interesting contact of Capricorn, a planet which is the sun's best friend, in Leo's natural sixth house of Capricorn. So this is naturally going to bring, it's a frustrating thing because the sixth house is a malefic energy. It's agitating. It's critical. It's criticizing. It's like, you could just be enjoying, the seventh house, just connecting with people and riding on their vibes, and even just dealing with people is fun. Or if Mars is in the fifth house from something, then that activates the pleasure craft of that thing. Once you get in the sixth house from a planet like the sun, that Mars being in Capricorn is in the sixth house from the sun. So it's no longer about pleasure craft for its own sake and enjoying experimenting with things. Now it's about fastening them, turning them into a reliable skill that you can apply diligently and constructively in quite deliberate and powerful ways. Because if that Mars is exalted in that sixth from the sun, then it can chisel away very constantly and yet with good managerial skill at the annoying things in the sun's energy field, those things which are obstructing the creation. It's really a harvest space for the sun in Leo to have Mars in Capricorn. It's a real harvesting of some kind of enterprise available here. And even sexually, we could see it being the same sort of thing. Is that there's this hot pressure on the Leo person to get out a ravenous appetite of sexuality, of gaining, of gains, of drilling into something to get gains from it and to feel good from it, to feel satisfied, but then to move on to something else. This is a person who's, because of that Mars in Capricorn, this is a person who can work as hard as they play and play as hard as they work. They know how to be disciplined enough and discerning to put their effort into the work that they need to, but then they know that they have just as much vitality and they won't be necessarily workaholics, although they can be. This is actually somebody who can very much be a workaholic. Really depends more on your Venus and your moon situation to define whether things outside of the ambitious use of this Mars and Sun energy will be important to you. If you're more of a Moon and Venus person, then, you could just have a great domestic bliss. If you have strong Moon Shadbala, if you have strong Venus Shadbala, or if Venus is prominent in your chart, or the Moon, those feminized sense of planets, even Mercury, then you might be about the domestic scene and the bliss and the enjoyment of hanging out and enjoying your life and not just using this ambition. But in any case, no matter what you do, you'll probably have a good sense of a strong, powerful will to do it. You can be probably a very hard-driven person, but everyone knows that even if you've got that Leo ego still, whatever you say is probably, because of the Mars in Capricorn, it's so deliberate. It plans things out before it says it. It's got a quiet reserve, so it doesn't just look like it's talking and just squawking and just to be an ego for the sake of being an ego. There's definitely egotism possible here, but there's a reserve that comes from their quiet deliberation in whatever they do. It's the Mars in Capricorn. There's a deliberation here that's just like, it contradicts the Leo bluster. It's a quietness on the front that just wants to be first and foremost business. Now, this is a powerful thing in relationship, for better or worse. Let's consider the better, because there's a good consciousness here for being detached in relationships. When you've got to do something, and if you say to your partner that you want to meet somewhere, and you are going to be very straight up about saying, this is where I want to meet, and if they come to meet and they're late, or like they don't show up, then you might just cut them out. or say, you'll just earnestly say, look, it's been nice hanging out with you, but you can't fuck me up like this, or else I'm just gonna, like, I can't waste my time like this. So deal with it with me so that we can get through this, please. Like, that's this kind of hard energy that can come through. But the point is that there's a communication did need to be made in that situation, which is that person, my point here is that you'll be very deliberate in telling people, or being in a relationship, saying what needs to be said, number one. Although you might not engage your emotions as much as you probably should. Again, that's more of a Moon and Venus thing. You could, I guess what I'm trying to say with this combination is that there is a strength, a fatness with the Leo Sun that comes through. And the Mars in Capricorn basically reins it in so that it has the bluster, the grandeur, the dandiness, the pluckiness of Leo. But that pluckiness of Leo is not like ruined by too much excitement. There's an old story about Leo where it's like some Greek story where this kid was like one of the gods, and he wanted to go up and get the sun and fly up close to the sun. Icarus, I think it is. And everyone said, hey, hold on, Icarus, that's hotter up there than you think. You've got to just slowly make your way to doing that thing. But Icarus was like a moth going towards like a light. It's so beautiful, blah. And because, what a Leo needs to be able to do is like count like 30 seconds before they make a decision. And this bluster, this out of controlness, because Leo is in its Leo is the sun's Mula Tricona point. It's its own home. It's not its exaltation point, though. Leo and Cancer are the fattest parts of the sun's energy sphere. It's like summer solstice. It's like when the summer is at its highest heat. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's at its most precise or best usage. So Leo can be just a bit too much. Just too much bluster, too much energy, and they burn themselves out, and they just like get their tension out through other people because they just are like that. They just don't know what else to do. They can have anger problems and all these things. And this Mars in Capricorn, the reining in that it does, it allows Leo to keep the fun, buoyant, pushy, sort of let's do this adventure thing that Leo has. But there's always the tongue is reeled back in the mouth a bit. So that whenever they do anything, it is punctual, it is frugal, it's deliberated. It's not just them trying to have a show of face, although, every Leo can kind of do that. But it keeps that animal bestialness, but can precisely channel it with the grip on the reins that Mars and Capricorn has. So that they can become a very artful lover. They can listen, especially if they're if their feminine planets also have due karmic evolution. So this can make for a powerful sort of lover, but it's generally going to be a sentimental person who just wants to love you, oh my baby doll. It's not going to be that sappy. Leo at some levels is like that, but this is the attitude of this person. Probably brings out a feeling like everybody should be top-notch and that my partner should be kind of respectable and well-to-do, because I want to be able to express that same refinement and high class, because that's kind of what Mars and Capricorn brings out. So we've just talked a lot about my interpretation of this energy. Now I want to show a little bit of the turn-ons and turn-offs of Leo's sun in general. From there, we're going to talk about what it is that having Mars in Capricorn adds to that Leo erotic psychochemistry. This is coming from Erotic Astrology by Phyllis Vega. This is the turn-ons and turn-offs of Leo. Leo is the most ardent and attentive of bedmates, but you would rather be alone than involved with the wrong person. Leo is fixed fire. They've ardently fixed their passionate desires to someone who will help them like manifest in a fixed way the ultimate ideal that they're looking to embody at all times. So casual little bed flings might be a thing when they're young, especially with this Mars and Capricorn seeking to be a good lover for love's own sake. Just seeking to be a good, wanting. This is a Leo who could want to know how to please the fuck out of someone, and they might very well learn how to do it. But they'll, if they have to schmooze around with a few people in order to get a feel for how to be the good top boy, or the rock and roll girl, or whatever it is that you are, that fiery on kind of a top energy. Leo, especially with this Mars and Capricorn, can tend to be that. And the Mars and Capricorn will be diligent, zing, 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 get into a relationship, feel it out, and be completely detachedly discerning about when it functionally doesn't work out psychologically. Cut it off because it's just wasting my energy. Go on to the next one. See how that works. See how that feels. It's very a lover who is experimental. When you consider the Leo being the lover, the fifth house vibe, the fifth sign vibe, the sun being there, and its Mars, its expression, its logical, rational mind is exalted in the sixth house from the sun. Virgo in research and experience, right? Makes for a very powerful playboy sort of energy, playgirlish sort of like very hot to trot, capable sexual lover. But they eventually, ultimately, want to fasten that to somebody who they think is worthy of it and deserves it and is respectable and who they want to give this gift to. The royal lion is status conscious and something of a snob. You must be able to respect and admire the person you love, and your ideal partner is intelligent, dignified, and classy. Again, Mars and Capricorn brings out a bit more of that seeking refinement. More than anything, your lover must always remember who is number one and act on this knowledge at all times. It's not just for men either. This is for Leo women too. It can be the, hey honey, the kind of like the queen of the roost sort of vibe. They often feel very comfortable. Leos just in general feel very comfortable with that, with everybody giving them the space for that consciousness. You are a star in the bedroom. You know it. And you want to be certain that your partner knows it too. The lion loves seduction and foreplay. For you, making love is an art form, and fulfilling your erotic fantasies is a major turn on. It's the Mars and Capricorn here too, with the addition of this, has the capacity, the skill, the application of the mind to be able to really just laser in on some artful lover things. Sensual, unhurried lovemaking in lavish comfort appeals to you more than grabbing a quickie before rushing off to the office. The back is Leo's most sensitive area, and sweeping caresses over your back and spine sexually stimulate and excite you. You enjoy building anticipation for an erotic encounter by setting up the scene in advance. Sexy attire turns you on, as does dressing or undressing your partner. Although you usually prefer wooing or being wooed luxuriously, as befits your regal status, the freewheeling, spontaneous part of your love nature is rejuvenated by unplanned moments. An occasional bit of impromptu, devil-may-care lovemaking can inflame your desires and keep your sex life fresh and new. Yeah, that's definitely some Leo stuff, but there's a bestial, blah, let's just rock and roll, and just like, it's like the two of you go out and do something where somehow you get into a physical like dancing. This person could be a killer dancer, or any kind of thing where it's like, you've been just regal and just looking rather refined and well-to-do and just upkeeping, but then when you finally get the chance to do something, oh, maybe, maybe I will try this out. Bang! And then all of a sudden you've got this skill on the dance floor type thing. You make a killer energy in that regard. So, this is a very cool, Leo is just a cool, juicy energy in general. The fact that this Mars in Capricorn is in the 6th house, which Mars, like they say in Vedic astrology, is like a natural karaka of the 6th house. Again, you have to really consider that it's only in the 6th house from the sun, which means that it has to do with the agitation and the management of the energy of the spirit only. Not necessarily how you're going to manage your material life, or it doesn't really necessarily have anything to do with your natural 6th house. Even the 6th house from your moon would be way more significant in showing actual material realities. But this Mars will have an energy of constantly, consistently doing the thing that it does. It's for the sun. That's kind of the vibe here. Anyway, I digress. I love talking about this stuff and mixing all these different points and places of astrology together. That was a reading particularly of Sun in Leo. Just kind of focusing on that theme. Now we're going to wrap it all up with the final reading from the same book, Phyllis Vega, talking about adding Mars and Capricorn into the equation. What does having Mars and Capricorn add to the psychoerotic ego of the Sun in Leo? So, this is from Phyllis Vega, Sun in Leo, Mars in Capricorn. Although this combination can be demanding, when you feel safe and secure in an intimate union, you are caring, protective, generous, and loyal. Behind closed doors, you make a fiery, dramatic bedmate with an exceedingly physical approach to lovemaking. It's the Mars that's just always naturally, constantly just working out its energy and its muscles and everything somehow, some way. It's probably just a real aggressive lean into the sexual experience. A muscular one. So, being a powerhouse of sexual energy, you like being the one in control in your sexual encounters. Casual bedroom dalliances don't appeal to you. You prefer saving your passionate ardor for a grand affair of the heart. In the right situation, with the right person, you dazzle your bed partner with a combination of aggressive moves and lingering, sensual caresses. Yeah, that definitely sounds like this combination. Like you could be a very dominant, pushy sort of personality, whether you're a man or a woman. And if you're a woman, it's kind of almost like a power bottom vibe. It's this come hither sort of like the person directing and moving the energy. And it's like, yeah, baby, you come to here and do the thing to me. Yeah. So there's always that kind of like initiating energy there, no matter what your sexual style is. You can never let astrology pigeonhole how you ought to approach and operate your own sexual enjoyment and style. But this is a cool way of showing at least the psyche that's operating behind whatever style you choose. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was a juicy one. I think that this is probably one of the hotter combinations, I'd say. Any Mars, I've been saying that about all the Mars and Capricorn signs, combinations. Mars and Capricorn is just a great thing for anybody to have. It's that exalted power, gives you a great ability to logically use your mind in the right way. Depending on what Mars is to the rising sign, what degree it's in, what aspects it has, always take these things into context. So, I'm Dustin Cormier, folks. If you liked this video, feel free to leave me a like, leave me a comment, subscribe, and drop a comment, ask a question. I'm always trying to be as open as I can to you guys and actually talking with you guys and trying to respond to anything that kind of gets out there. And yeah, if you dug it, feel free to subscribe, because I always got more stuff coming out. Stuff related to this same kind of dealio. I'm thinking of doing a Moon and Venus series soon. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, ladies and germs. See you on the next one.